Hey Mobile Legends warriors, welcome back. Today we've got an action-packed jungle-filled guide that will take your gameplay from just okay to legendary. By the end of this video you will know exactly how to dominate the jungle no matter which hero you're playing. First up, we're breaking down the most important part of your jungle journey, your first jungle route. Then we continue how to act the next 2 minutes, which is the moment you can make the biggest impact and get ahead of the enemy. From there we analyze how to act during the later period of the match, where I'll teach you what steps to take to become the dominant team. To complete this guide, I'll provide 10 tips that help you to improve your jungling gameplay significantly. I highly suggest you watch the whole video, because most of the information is linked to each other and really works best if you combine the tricks. So pay close attention for maximum results. We start with analyzing which heroes should take which jungle route, and just think of it like choosing your breakfast. Do you want pancakes, cereal or bacon and eggs? Each hero has his own appetite for their jungle route. The first jungle route is exclusively for those heroes who are super buff dependent. We're talking about heroes like Ling, Fanny and Nolan. These guys really need the blue buff to perform at their best, so when you're playing these heroes, always start at the blue buff. No exceptions. You want to kill the monsters, but try to keep your retribution skill handy unless you see the enemy sneaking around trying to steal your precious buff. In that case, smack that retribution button like it's your last slice of pizza at a party. From here you have two options. I don't suggest the first option, which I'll explain in a minute. Option 1 is, instead of taking your own farming route, you can move across to go for the red buff of the enemy team. Now, this is extremely risky, but it can give you a huge head start if you pull it off. Your chance of succeeding is much bigger when you have an ally at your side. After you've secured their red buff, you can head straight towards your own red buff, giving you a major advantage compared to the enemy jungler. I often don't like to take this route, because I always play solo rank, and I don't know how about you, but I trust nobody of those random, unreliable players. However, there is a way that it's a lot safer to try to steal their buff, which we will discuss in the 10 jungle tips part of this video. Instead, I often use the second option, which is continuing towards your red buff, while trying to secure the little wonder in the meantime, by using a retribution. Then finish the monsters there and prepare for your first gank attempt. From this moment it gets really important to act in the correct way. You want to gank only whenever there is a decent chance of making a kill right away and you won't get killed. Otherwise, continue with the gold crab or the other monster at the enemy side of the jungle. Afterwards, you have one more attempt for a kill at the gold lane. If there's no chance, don't wait for it, but continue right towards the turtle, who always spawns at the side of the XP lane. When possible, try to move in such a way that the enemy doesn't spot you. Stealth mode activated. Just imagine you're a ninja on a mission, silent but deadly. Alright team, now we have 2 jungle routes left. And the path you take depends on your hero's mobility and jungling speed. If you're playing a relatively mobile hero who can clear monsters quickly, then the second jungle route is for you. Heroes like Karina, Alucard and Helcurt fit this build perfectly. For these agile junglers, start at the opposite buff of the gold lane, because we want to gank our first time at the marksman. It's like picking the juiciest fruit first. You want that sweet early game kill. Just like the previous option, you want to keep retribution to secure the little wonder, since it adds almost 100 gold. Then move towards the other side of the jungle to take the buff and clear the other monster to reach level 4 and start your gank attempt. Remember, only gank when you have a high chance of making a kill and there's almost no way you get killed yourself. Dying this early in the match make you lose some valuable farming time, which destroys your chance of getting an early game head start. So play it smart. If the gank doesn't look promising, continue with the gold crab or the monster in the enemy jungle. Keep that gold and experience rolling in. Afterwards, you have one more attempt for a kill at the gold lane. If there's no chance, don't waste time waiting around. Instead, head straight towards the turtle, who always spawns at the side of the XP lane at 2 minutes. Timing is everything here, so make sure you're in position to take it down as soon as it appears. Lastly, we have farming route 3. Which is perfect for all those slower heroes in terms of mobility and jungling, like Harriet, Barretts and Aemon. These picks require a different strategy to maximize their potential. With these heroes, you want to start at the buff opposite of the XP lane, because that's where we want to gank with these types of heroes. Start by killing the first buff and the monster if you begin at the red buff, and try to take the Little Wonder if possible. It's a nice little gold boost to get you rolling. Then continue with the other side of the jungle to set up your first gank at the XP lane. Just like with other farming routes, gank when there's a good possibility. If not, keep farming those monsters. After that, check for another opportunity. If nothing looks promising, head over to the mid lane for your gank while staying close to the turtle, which should spawn in short notice. Timing and position are key here. From here, the second part starts and the game progressed for about 2 minutes, which marks the moment the first turtle spawns. And I'll explain exactly how to obtain it and what you should do afterwards. So the turtle adds around 300 gold to your team, as well as quite a bit of XP, which is super useful during the early game. You definitely want to secure it, and there are a few things that can really help to accomplish this goal. The first tip is to analyze the minimap for 20 seconds before the turtle spawns. This helps you to get a clear vision of where all enemies are located, especially the jungler and roam hero. The farther away they are, the more likely it is you can take the turtle out without much contest. But what if the enemy jungler is nearby? There are a few things you can do, but the most important one not to do is attacking the turtle. If you try to take it down anyway, you will lose health during the process, which gives the enemy jungler an advantage. Instead, try one of these two options. The first one is to hide and wait for the enemy jungler to attack the turtle, which will lower the health of both of them. Then you can surprise the enemy, giving you an advantage to kill them or force them to recall, allowing you to take the turtle. The other option is to first ensure you can take out the turtle by attacking nearby enemies. If they are killed or forced to retreat, you have an opportunity to take out the turtle without interference. Note that it's very important to have retribution ready to secure it. So take this in your planning when moving towards the turtle. Timing is everything. It also helps a lot to have some allies with you. So don't be shy and use the quick chat to call your allies. So to recap, analyze the minimap before the turtle spawns, avoid attacking if the enemy jungler is nearby, use ambush statics or clear nearby enemies first, always have retribution ready, and get your team to help. Secure that turtle, enjoy that sweet early game advantage. From here, it really depends on the situation to determine which step to take. After killing the turtle, your team gets a temporary shield, which adds a small advantage. Therefore, look for a ganking opportunity. If none arrives, return to the buff you took first to start your farming route. It's very important to remember that this stage of the match is purely to get gold, so don't die unnecessary. Focus on taking out jungle monsters to become stronger. What I like to do is use my ultimate to determine which actions to take. If it's not on cooldown, try to look for opportunities to launch an attack. Otherwise, keep your focus on obtaining gold by clearing the jungle monsters. The most efficient way of farming is not partially clear the jungle, but to go for the full route when all enemies have spawned, from one side to the other side. You want to clear each monster while walking in the most efficient way to get the highest amount of gold per minute. It takes about a minute to go from start to finish, depending on your hero. This method is especially useful if you play a hero that benefits from stacking items like the war eggs and concentrated energy, or heroes like Barretts who gain stacks naturally. By focusing on keeping your stacks, you can speed up your jungle route. After completing the farming route, make a gank with all these extra gold and XP you've obtained to increase your chance of getting a kill. If a gank isn't possible, prioritize invading the enemy jungle. This period of the match is crucial because you can gain a significant amount of extra gold, especially if the enemy didn't watch this guide. But to really win the match, there are a few very important things you need to do to increase your chance of victory, which we'll analyze right now. At this stage of the match, there are two objectives you as a jungler should focus on. The first one is creating a bigger gap between the total amount of gold of your team versus that one of the enemy. And I really mean the total amount. One way to create a bigger gap is to obtain more gold yourself, but this shouldn't be your priority. You don't want to steal the farm of your allies to become better yourself. Instead, you should focus on the jungle as well as the lanes with minions would die with no one around anyway. Another effective way is to steal jungle monsters from the enemy, but we'll talk about this strategy more a bit later on. Then, of course, the offensive role as a jungler can help to increase the gap of gold. By ganking lanes with decent opportunities, you can help your team big time. Killing a hero or even making them recall means they'll miss valuable farming time, which is an effective way to add more gold relative to the enemy team. The second objectives are the turrets and turtle and lord. As a jungler, you need a constant eye on the map to know where enemies are located. Only then you can take down turrets without taking too much risk, since getting killed is still a bad thing in this period of the map. If you notice that most enemy heroes are quite a distance away from one turret, you can take it down safely. It's better to take out 2 turrets safely than 3 turrets while getting killed multiple times. There will also spawn a few turtles after killing the first one, so try to keep the timer in mind and return around the spawn time to secure it. This gives your team a significant boost, so keep the turtle in the center of your attention. Unlike the turtle, which is relatively easy to defeat, taking down the lord requires more strategy and teamwork. There are 2 prime opportunities to go for the lord, and I'm going to break them down for you. First, when the enemy team is down by at least 3 members and you've got 4 or more heroes alive, this is your golden chance. Once you see those enemies fall, head straight to the lord with your team. Remember, speed is key here. Don't waste any time. Second, if you've pushed the enemy lane so hard that the opposing team is busy defending their turrets and base, that's your moment. It's best when 1 or 2 heroes keep up the pressure on the lanes, keeping the enemy tied up so they can't contest the lord. But someone needs to step up and lead the charge towards the lord, so stay alert and be ready to act. As the game progresses, your role as a jungler might shift more towards teamfights than securing objectives to close out the match. But don't worry, I've got 10 tips to make you a more efficient, powerful and smarter jungler. If you already utilize 10 out of the 10 tips, you can call yourself a professional jungler. The first tip is one from which I feel it's common knowledge by now, but I still want to mention it, which is checking the amount of gold the enemy jungler receives during the first seconds of the match, which lets you know which buff they started with. If their gold hits 423 quickly, they took the red buff, worth 123 gold. If you see increments of 23, 107 or 130 gold, they started with the blue buff. This insight lets you predict their jungle path and adjust your strategy accordingly. The second tip I want to share is a small but significant change you can make to increase your jungling speed. Instead of waiting until you can finish a jungle monster, cast it right away to get it quicker on cooldown, so you can cast it again faster and just deal more overall damage. But please only do this whenever you are 100% sure the monster won't get stolen by an enemy. Otherwise, just wait a few seconds extra to secure the monster. Tip number 3 is to know which jungle monsters you should prioritize, which can significantly boost your gold income. Always aim for the gold crabs and the little wonder if you're nearby, as they are on neutral ground. I also highly suggest you prioritize the enemy jungle over yours, when the situation lets you. If the lanes are pushed or multiple enemies are killed, it's the best moment to take out some monsters of the opponent. This not only adds extra gold to you, but it makes the jungler unable to kill his monsters, so he can't farm well. This is an easy but very effective trick to utilize the situation when you're ahead during the match. Then the fourth tip I have for you is when killing your jungle monsters to walk slightly towards the next monster without resetting it. This saves time and adds up over the course of the game. Also, make use of the potion effect from your jungle boots, which deals true damage every second. Timing it right can save a few seconds here and there, making your jungle clears more efficient. The fifth tip is whenever you are low on health, go back to your jungle to recover it. Ganking with low health is risky and often ineffective. Most junglers can heal a good amount by just killing jungle monsters, so make sure to top up your HP before joining fights. Coming in at full power increases your chances of successful ganks and better support your allies. The sixth tip is obvious, but worth repeating because it happens too often. Don't kill any minions during the first 5 minutes. You get reduced gold and XP from them and you're essentially stealing from your allies. Your goal is to widen the gold gap between teams, and taking minions for a small amount of gold works against that goal. Leave the minions for your teammates. Then the seventh tip is when playing as a jungler to continuously analyze the enemy's gold, level and chosen items. By checking the scoreboard every minute, you know which heroes are easy targets and which ones to avoid. This awareness can help you make better decisions on who to engage and when to back off. Tip number 8 is to communicate well, which all roles should do, but especially the jungler should be a star at this. Inform your team when you're about to gank, when your ultimate is ready, or if your retribution is on cooldown. This small action can have a big impact, so don't forget, keep your team in the loop. Tip number 9 is to help the lanes who need it. When an ally is struggling against a stronger opponent, it's your job to step in. Initiate a gank to kill the enemy hero and give your teammates time to farm and gain gold. While roam heroes help their allies, junglers can have a bigger impact due to their higher damage output. Then the 10th and most important tip, which I can't point out enough: don't trust your random allies, because you regret it the second you do. I think the most important thing I've learned through the years is that you just can't rely on your allies when playing solo rank. It happened too often that I counted on an ally to have my back, which of course failed and set back our team. There are some pearls out there, but most of them are rubbish. And if you treat every ally like that, you won't get disappointed. So that's my complete guide on becoming the best jungler in Mobile Legends. But don't stop here. Do you have any questions, comments or thoughts about the jungle role? Use the comment section and let our amazing community help each other out. Now that you're fully up to speed on jungling, you can further improve your results by checking out this video on the 5 best junglers right now.